I would like to introduce Robbie Marvin. Robbie is my brother in Sigma Nu. He's also somebody who is 15 years younger than me. And to say I respect him is an understatement. I think I know the world's a better place because he's here. Our topic for this past week is the concept of effective altruism. And Robbie was somebody who did effective altruism before that was even a term out there in the world. In 2008, a massive flood hit the city that Robbie and I are from. Massive flood destroyed thousands of people's homes. The damage it did to our home city is just unbelievable. So, Robbie, I'm actually going to ask you to tell anyone listening what it is you did.
And having gotten the opportunity to maybe the displeasure of viewing the series of events and the tragedy that a lot of people had to experience with that flooding. Homes are destroyed, lives were lost, entire possessions were lost. And I started asking myself, what can I do? And it started as such a simple question. What can I do in my simple pea-sized brain? And then I started to think that, okay, well, I can do a little bit, but if I can get my friends to do a little bit, I can do more. And then I got to thinking, well, me and my friends can inspire other people to do more than they would do. And we could have a really big impact. And so I created a project with bringing together a brain trust of individuals that I knew and trusted in the Cedar Rapids community together. And this project led to a series of two pretty simple goals. Goal number one was to volunteer 1 hour of my time per day for the course of the entire year. Didn't mean I needed to necessarily give 1 hour exactly each and every day. I could give 7 hours one day each and every week, and it would have equated to the same goal being completed. But that had to be above and beyond the volunteer time that I was already doing, which is pretty hot. It's young single guy trying to make a name for himself in the community. So that was goal number one, volunteering. The second goal was to donate the same percentage of my income that equated to the number of feet that the flood level hit in the Cedar Rapids area. And I'll be honest, today I don't remember if that was 31.2 feet or 32.1 feet. It was a lot.
Right. I tell my students 1/3 of your income. I just told my students 1/3 because I mean it was. I know it wasn't exactly 1/3, but yeah. Anyhow, you were willing to. It was a little bit below that, but you gave an insane amount of money for this. Keep going.
Yep, and so to help with this, I had to make some sacrifices, right? And all in the name of, okay, if I can do this, then surely my friends, people who were following me, could do something more than they're currently doing. They didn't have to go to the extremes that I was, but they could volunteer their time to a local nonprofit that really needed the help because resources were being used elsewhere. They could have donated, $5 to a charity of their choice. Whatever it is to encourage people to do more than they did. But I had to, instead of going to movies at the movie theater, I might rent movies. I cut cable TV. I didn't do cable TV. I had a very basic phone at the time. We didn't have smartphones then. I think I just had a little flip phone, so it was easy to stay to my dad and 10 text messages a month or whatever. And So throughout the course of a year, I was able to accomplish that mission. Not easily, but with some diligence, I made that part of the goal. The second part, I had friends help me select local nonprofits in our community, and we would highlight and showcase one nonprofit each month throughout the course of the year. Some of these I was familiar with, and others I was not. But the goal was to share my experiences and to try to share some of the volunteer opportunities that might be available to other people. And I would have people come up to me and say, hey, I got involved with Meals on Wheels, delivering meals to elderly people because you did this. You encouraged me to go above and beyond and try this out. And I'm thankful I did. That's what people would tell me. So, it was really inspiring that what started as, what can I do, built to, okay, can I get other people involved? And then finally snowballed to something much larger where I was encouraging and getting strangers to do more than they would have done at the beginning.
Awesome. I was able to share with my students. I actually found some of the media that was done about you, you. The thing is you not only were doing effective altruism before that was a term, you were an influencer before that was a term. My question for you is, how did that affect you psychologically to know you've done that? In other words, I think you're inspirational, and so what are your thoughts today about what you did there?
Well, I think for me, on both a personal level and a professional level, both, it really helped build my confidence. I mean, when you set out to do a task that is really difficult to do, and you accomplish it, or maybe you didn't accomplish it, but you came really close. It's one of those things where you hear success breeds success. And I felt like doing well with this goal translated into my personal life, and that I was just more confident around me. I was the person who was bullied in high school. I wasn't popular. I was sort of a geek. And to have this under my belt made me feel like I could talk to strangers, or I could encourage people to do something that they otherwise wouldn't do. I could be an inspiration. I could get them to maybe not do whatever it is I'm asking them to do today, but if I could just get them to think about it, maybe there's a chance down the road that they'll remember that conversation when the topic comes up again. On a professional level, I felt like it helped. Perception can become reality, and so my peers around me perceived me as somebody who they could take seriously, who sets goals and who accomplishes them. That was big for me. At the time, I think a lot of people wondered if I was really in it to win it in my career. They wondered if I was in a job versus trying to stay for the long run, and wanted to work my way up in the company. And so I helped change minds there. People thought more positively of me. But more importantly, that is sort of like on the personal level, I was also more confident in things that I was doing in the workplace. And I think that it was experiences like that that really helped take me from an entry-level person in the accounting world to a manager down the road.
Right, because the whole point of this is the term effective altruism, okay? So in the past 24 hours, I found out about a friend who, long story short, he's a former student and a friend. Like, I do like, anyhow, he's not just a former student, he's a friend. And I found out that he passed away. But where this ties to you and this conversation is that this is truly tragic to say that he was pretty much abandoned by his family, and he asked me for some money at one point, and I gave him some money, but but it's more than a couple years ago. He asked me for money, literally for a liver transplant, and I don't know exactly what his health condition was at that time. But he asked me money for a liver transplant, and I literally did not have it. But my question for you is, I cannot. I mean, I'll admit I got the news and I started crying. And my question for you is, how do you, as somebody who you are more altruistic than I am, how do you walk that line of I can help, but at some point I can no longer help? Like when he asked, I helped early on with him, and then I reached the point where I can't do this much more.
Well, that's a toughie. I've dealt with that my entire life. I'm a people pleaser. I love and thrive on making people happy. You ask me to do that proactively, it's difficult. You give me a command or tell me to do something, that's very simple for me. Now, my mother was one of those people, Steve, where, I could question today, my mother's no longer with us, but sometimes I question, what else could I have done to make her happier, to put aside some of the bad experiences I had with her and have been a more loving son, or to help her more financially, to help her more with my time. And people always say that you have to kind of figure out where your line is. And once you've set your line, you don't cross it. You kind of stick to that. And the situation you provided, Steve, is you didn't really have a chance to set that line. Your line, it sounds like, was you weren't financially capable of hoping that line. And speaking as your altruistic friend, I know it's probably difficult now for you to think so, but I think that you can be okay with the result of that situation because you did what you could. And sometimes that's all we're capable of doing. And I guess I'll give you another kind of reason where I'm coming from with that is I'm a millennial. It would, so Generation X is the generation that they got into the workplace. They kind of followed mom and dad, and you put in your time, you work your way up incrementally to the company. Here, us millennials come along and we're savvy in technology, at least compared to our 10X predecessors. There's some sense of entitlement as a stereotype, right? And along with that, I think is this generational desire to always exceed expectations and always go above and beyond, and to strive for whatever the top level of achievement is, whatever it is. I don't care if it's baking. You want to be the best baker you can be. If you're having children, you want to raise superstar children. And I think that my generation as a whole is starting to draw those lines that I was talking about earlier. Just understanding that while we want to be superhuman, there are times when we just have to be honest with ourselves that we are limited in our capabilities. And I don't say that to be, to take the wind out of a person's sail. Might be striving for to get to the next level, striving to be better. It's good to work. I'm really talking towards those efforts in which you're so over the top all the time that you burn out and you've got nothing left to give. And so, kind of talking in a circle here, but my point really is, Steve, that we have to be honest with ourselves, and it can be hard because all I tend to focus on in the moment is how disappointed I am in myself for not being able to help out, say, my mother, or not being disappointed for not being able to go see a family member who maybe I've never seen in 15 years, who's never reached out to me, never tried to have any more relationship with me, but invited me to a wedding that I'm not going to attend, or helping the friend who's really only an acquaintance. It's one of those things where you really can't do it all. I think that's we probably, as human beings, just need to do a better job of celebrating the times when we can go above and beyond and inspire and make a difference in people's lives, but also not bringing ourselves down too hard when we can't, or when we've made a decision not to.
So, I want to end this interview in saying that you are incredibly inspirational, and even your comment there of you can't do it all is not only true but also inspirational, because it's reality. Number one, there's so many things you said that I loved, and I think your generational comment is very true. And the reason I enjoy teaching at a university is that every generation, because I'm now literally on my second generation going through college. Every generation that comes through inspires me. So I thank you, Robbie. So we'll end the interview here.